Just like amateurs.
Yeah, these. Shabbat Shalom. On this quest of mine to make sense of my life, to discover the meaning of what I do and what is done to and for me, I come to the stillness of this day. I yearn for the insight to be grateful for the gifts that have been created in me and for the gift of loving companions who walk at my side. On Shabbat, let me put aside all doubt and sadness and give thanks. Rabbi Chaim Stern. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Sometimes I call this the Shabbat of low energy. So if I'm not as revved up as other times, you'll understand. We'll begin our service today by turning to the candle lighting, pages 120, 121.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives.
Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher Kishanu B'mitzvotav V'tzivanu L'chadlik Ner Shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We turn now to page 123 as we rise for the Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei v'haven.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'b'ratzon hinhilanu zikaru le'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom tehila למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, קיוונו אחרת, אותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה ורצון, Baruch atah Adonai mekadosh ha-Shabbat.
Amen.
L'chaim.
You may be seated. Samuel Kohan wrote, "Religion is not so much knowledge of God as godly living. What distinguishes a religion from a system of science or philosophy is its concern with human behavior. Theories of reality are vital to it only to the degree to which they help transform the lives of people and to affect their conduct. Unless religion affects human life and conduct, it is of small worth." Turn now to Dodie Lee on page 129. Continue as we turn to page 134 with Zamru Ladonai.
Yadai, la, 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 ya, la, la. Zamru Ladonai bechinor, בכינור, בכינור בקול זמרה, בחצוצרות בקול שופר, הרי לפני המלך אדוני.
Oliver Wendell Holmes wrote, I find the great thing in this world is not so much where we stand as in what direction we are moving. And that makes sense because as we turn to L'Chadodi on 138, when we get to verse 9, we do turn into the direction of the Rear to greet the Sabbath bride. We sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Please we rise for verse 9, L'Chadodi.
לחדתי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחדתי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבורך, השמיע את המיוחד, אדוני אחד שמו אחד. לשם לתפארת ולתהילה, לחדתי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחדתי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ברכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. נראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לחדתי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחדתי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לחדתי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחדתי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצרה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לחדתי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחדתי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
The Raz Miner Rebbe said, in the life of the Spirit, you come upon door after door, each one of which you must open and pass through before you reach the inmost entrance. We turn to the Chatzi Kaddish, page 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה.
Amen.
ועמד יברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי.
בחייכנו יום אחד
וחיי נכו בית ישראל. בעגלה, בעגלה, ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמרה המבורך, לעולם רב מיומיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרמה ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמי לקדושה בריחו. לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה,
ושפחתה בדכם אתה להמירן בעלמא. Please rise as we turn to our call to worship, the Baruch Hu. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chochma poteach sha'arim, u'vitvuna mishaneh itim, u'machalif et azmanim, u'misader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, Mavir yom umevi laila, Mavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv haravim. 151. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean this struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohem Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai. 157, responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory, the earth reveal your justice above.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and peace. Then shall we rejoice as we did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Read together in the middle of page 161. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haparei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim.
Continue with the Shamru on the next page.
As we turn to page 164, we rise for the tefillah.
Open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Eloheinu b'moteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Gadol, Ha'gibor v'Hanora,
האורים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה
אתה גיבור לאדוני, מחיה הכל, אתה רב ומושיע, מוריד הטל, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה מלך ממית ומקיים, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אדוני הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מקיים הכל.
אתה הקדוש ושמך הקדוש וקדושים בכל יום יעללוך סלע ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please be seated, page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh ha-Shabbat. V'tzei Adonai Eloheinu b'amcha Yisrael v'tfilatam b'ahava tikabel v'tehi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha el karov l'chol karav p'nei el avadecha v'chonenu שפוך רוחך עלינו ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון ברחמים ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר שכינתו לציון. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, atov shimcha u'lecha na'el lahodot.
Shalom Ra'ah Yisrael Amcha Nasim Le'olam. Shalom Ra'ah Yisrael Amcha Nasim Le'olam.
Please take a few minutes of silent prayer and reflection.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, O God, my rock and my redeemer.
Now turn our thoughts to those in need of healing. I'll read the prayer, say some names. If you have names, when I look in your direction, you can pray for them out loud or in your hearts. Mishberach Abotenu Bimotenu Avraham Yitzchak V'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah Yivarech et HaCholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah bless and heal those who are ill. Our thoughts turn to those in need of healing. We think of Barbara DiCario, Thomas DiMatteo, Mark Friedman, Elizabeth Friedman, Ira Coleman, Dorothy Jacobson, Shana Esther Bat-Rachel, Elizabeth Swerniak, Howard Itkin, Chris Sura, Joel Shemaskin, Chaya Necha Bat-Riva Leah, Simon Brightman, Barbara Bayer, Chuck Frame, Beata Falkovich, Lawrence Post, Katriel Parachia, Ben Herschel Lezer Shoshana, Richard Reese, Marlene Gordon, David Meyer, Michael Wistreich, and Berta Rubin. Are there any other names anyone would like to share?
Stephen Brown, Marcus Ellis, George Campbell, Andrew Moses, Carl Rifkin, Terry Farm, Sam Shatzer, Peter Colbert,
May the Holy and Blessed One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored, their strength to be revived, May God send renewal of body and spirit. May God grant strength to them, their loved ones, and their caretakers. And let us say, in trying to interpret this week's Torah portion's poem, Ha'azino, the rabbis seek to examine metaphorical language. Now, sometimes their interpretations are simple comparisons, while at other times they look for more subtle meaning, even hidden ones that are only alluded to in the words. Our sages would take the actual language and investigate the symbolism. In this way, they would be able to read the Torah in a new and creative way. It was a method of finding many ideas in a single text. Some obvious, some only allusions, and even others creative interpretations that might not have ever been intended by the original text. Now, the rabbis did not limit themselves only to obvious interpretations, and this method is not only what modern rabbis do when they prepare for their sermons, but can be found in the earliest commentaries as well, in the Talmud, the Oral Law, and the Midrash. By the way, there's going to be a Midrash course coming up at the end of the month, adult education on Sunday mornings. That's another paid announcement. We did that on Yom Kippur a few times. I'm going to give you one verse from this week's portion. Yarov kamatar lechi, tizal katal imrati, kasi'irim ale desha, v'chirivim ale esev. It means, may my discourse come down as the rain, my speech distills as the dew, like showers on young growth, like droplets on the grass. And one of the teachings found in the Talmud is that rain, because it brings forth life from the earth, is compared to the revival of the dead, Techiyat HaMetim. In Reformed Judaism, we have generally eliminated revival of the dead as a literal concept in our theology and liturgy. A few are now adopting a very symbolic usage of the term, and our present prayer book allows for that. But in the previous prayer book, in Gevurot, in Gates of Prayer, some of you remember that book, we read, God gives life to all, B'chayei hakol, and not to the dead, B'chayei metim, revival of the dead. So that choice is now in most of the services in Mishkan Tefillah. Now, in both conservative and Orthodox prayer books, the words and concepts of revival of the dead, known as resurrection, is found throughout the liturgy. Traditionally, it was accepted that giving life to the dead is not magical and is not considered outlandish or a fringe concept. It is basic and fundamental outside of most Reformed Jewish thinking in the rest of the Jewish world. Maimonides included it as one of the 13 principles of faith, which we often refer to as Ani Ma'amin, which means I believe. In fact, I believe the concept was so important that Christianity started among Jews because of Jewish belief in resurrection, which allowed people not to create a new idea, but could apply that thought to the story of Jesus. For more than 2,000 years, but not as early as the times of Abraham or Moses, resurrection or revival of the dead was a prevalent Jewish concept. With that in mind, the rabbis ask a question of which is seen as a greater event: revival of the dead or a rainy day? I would imagine most people would guess, as I would have, the former, right? Revival of the dead, because it seems to be more miraculous. However, of course, there's always a however. The answer given in the Talmud by Rabbi Abahu is just the opposite. You were expecting that, right? He says that a rainy day is greater of the two events. Why? Revival of the dead is for the righteous alone, while a rainy day is a gift both for the righteous as well as the wicked. Since all people will benefit, evil as well as righteous, a rainy day should be thought of as a greater event. I think there's an important lesson that we can learn from this teaching, comparing rain to revival of the dead. It has to do with the choices we make in life. When more people benefit from the actions we take, rather than be limited to a select few, then those acts might be considered greater. Of course, there are times when we need to do things for ourselves or a few people, especially those close to us, family or friends around us. But our aim and overall way in which we carry out our lives is to do good for as many people as possible. Balancing between doing things for ourselves and doing things for others, or as many as possible other people, is an art. Our great teacher Hillel taught, and many of you know this in Pirkei Avot, Imain anili mili, if I'm not for myself, who will be for me? Ukasha anila atzmi mani, and if I'm only for myself, what am I? Vim lo achshav matai, and if not now, when? Now, according to that middle section of this threefold dictum, we are diminished as human beings if we are only concerned with ourselves. We know how we feel about people who are so self-centered that they care about no one else. Such folk are rarely viewed in a favorable light. But one should not forget the first part of the quote. If I'm not for myself, who will be for me? The self and those closest to us should not be ignored. Now, in the powerful verse that we heard on Yom Kippur from Leviticus 19:18 in the afternoon service, we read, V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love your neighbor as yourself. Part of the lesson there is that in order to be able to love others, our neighbors, friends, and humanity, we must begin by being capable of loving ourselves. So a question arose. Are Jews supposed to do things only for other Jews, or are they also obligated to help others who may not be Jewish? According to our lesson today, we are to do good for as many as possible, even outside the Jewish world. Indeed, as I have stated, we need to be concerned with ourselves and those closest to us. The concept of tzedakah is said to radiate from our inner core. The concept of tzedakah is for ourselves. Concept of tzedakah is said to radiate from our inner core, like immediate family and those who are closely related to us outwards. But we are never taught not to care for others, no matter where they are, from what religion they may follow, if any, or how far they are from our family or communal circle. Jews and Judaism care about all of God's creations, the earth, all living beings, and especially all human beings, not only Jews. So, as rain is a miracle that benefits all, so too must our good deeds and our tzedakah, like rain, rain down upon all. Amen.
Amen.
Sorry for losing my place, but... Okay, we turn now to the Aleinu, which is found on page 586, beginning with the second paragraph on that page. Please rise. Before we turn to the Kaddish, I'd like to read a new poem, unfortunately, by Alden Solovi, a poet of the Reform movement for the Jews of Germany. Author of Life, man has turned violent, attacking the heart of prayer in Halle, Germany, murdering and wounding innocents in the name of anti-Semitism with a passion for bloodshed and the destruction of the Jewish people. Uchtov l'chaim tovim kol b'nei britecha, and write for a good life all the children of your covenant. To the traumatized in Halle, we pray for healing. For the Jews of Germany and all the Jews of the world, we pray for an end of anti-Semitism. For the people of Germany and all the people of the world, we pray for shelter and solace, comfort and consolation, blessing and renewal. Uchtov l'chaim tovim kol b'nei britecha. Heavenly Guide, hand of love and shelter, put an end to anger and hatred, bigotry and fear, and lead us to a time when no one suffers at the hand of another. For the sake of our people and for the sake of your holy name, grant the Jews of Germany your protection, your wholeness and healing, and your peace. Uchtom b'chaim tovim kol b'nei britecha, and seal for a good life all the children of your covenant. Amen. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, and those who died this season in years past, and those we have drawn into our hearts with their own. In Shabbat, we extend sympathies to all who mourn the recent deaths in the period of Shloshim, for Ralph Pincus, the father of Josh Pincus, Dennis Goldsmith, the husband of Carol Goldsmith, Miriam Ito, the mother of Liz Rank, grandmother of Jody Merklinger, and Tracy Iman. We also remember the yard sites of Mayor Jacob Bar-El, David Benjamin, Peter Berenbaum, Jenny Berger, Kate Birkin, Sylvia DiMatteo, Ida Friedlander, Phoebe Goldsmith, Stephen Goodman, Jared Canner, Joseph Lipton, Leah Litmanovich, Johnny Page Sr., Carol Pess, Pauline Rosnick, Ray Rudin, Belle Shemaskin, Bertha Skirker Stone, Jerry E. Spitolnik. And I'm sorry I do not have the name of the two people who were killed in Germany. Did anybody know those names? We'll get those names and meet them, I hope, next week. Are there any other names of yard sites or recent deaths?
George Mitchell.
Zichronam livracha, may their memories all be for blessing. Return to the Mortar's Kaddish, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, V'alma divra firutei, v'alnich malchutei, v'chayechon, v'yomechon, v'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv, yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach, v'olam l'mei omaya, Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei d'kudusha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran v'yalma v'yimru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'yimru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromam, v'yaseh shalom, Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'yal kol Yoshvei Tevel, v'yamru amen. May God who creates peace in the heavens above, the peace descend on us, on all Israel, on all the inhabitants of the earth. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome everybody, and before we go on, I'd like to introduce our greeter for the evening, Abby Urban Rifkin. Abby is here to answer questions and welcome you warmly. Also, we turn to each other. We wish somebody Shabbat Shalom. If there's somebody near you you don't know, introduce yourself. Okay, so now during the Oneg, you have a new friend to talk to. Tomorrow morning, 9:15 Torah study, and 10:30 is Shabbat morning service with Minyan Makers. Sunday at the 13th, we have Adult Ed. We're kindling it. The topic this week is Sukkot. Gee, that's sort of unusual. Religious schools in session. Hebrew class will be there at 10:30. And then in the evening, we have our opening celebration of Sukkot, where we go to the Sukkah, you bring your dinner, and we provide sundaes, suds, and soda in the Sukkah. Alliteration. Monday the 14th, we have Sukkot morning service at 10:30. Of course, the office is closed. Wednesday is the daytime book group at 10. Next Friday, we have a special service. It's International Children's Shabbat, or Children's Sabbath. We have our guest speaker for the evening is Larry Marks, the CEO of the Children's Agenda here in Rochester. Larry is a member, many of you know him. And our special musical guest, Naomi Les, one of the new song people in the Jewish world now, and so it's a very, very special service. 6 p.m. Next Saturday, Torah study 9:15 at 10:30 a.m. The Shabbat morning service will be led by Saul Platt, the son of Linda Platt. And that evening, for adults only, make your reservations for martinis in the Sukkah. You're allowed not to have a martini. There are other things often served, so don't worry about it if you don't like martinis. Sunday the 20th, Adult Ed, Hebrew class. And then that evening, Simchat Torah service at 5:30. It's not for the little ones only. Please, how many times do I have to say this? It's for all of us. It's a nice evening. The klezmer band comes. You see the whole Torah out. What could be nicer than that? Monday the 21st, we do have Simchat Torah morning service with Yiska Memorial Prayers. Reminder that the Kol Nidre food drive will be on till the end of Simchat Torah, so when you come to that evening service, you'll be able to bring your food. And we want to, I already did martinis in the sukkah. So, I'm leaving a big martini drink, I gotta tell you, it's just, anyway, what? I didn't start anything. Okay, so we're ready for Motzi. Wash down the martinis.
Herb, you're building a sukkah.
Look at 9, You did good, lady. Okay. We turn to our closing song on page 645, Lo Yisagoy.
Nation shall not take up sword against nation, they shall never again study war. Lo Yisagoy.
Adonai Yishmerenu Yishmor Nafshenu, Adonai Yishmor Tzaytenu V'Oenu Chayim L'Shalom. Eternal God, watch over us, protect our very being, protect us as we go out and as we return. Protect us with your Sukkot Shalom, your shelter of peace, and bless us in the year ahead. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I know, because we're just kind of. Because we just realized over the years we all used to have.
Everyone had sugar parties.
And I used
None
to
of us
do
are
it,
going
and I just don't feel like it right
I think Marsh's is the last one.
Right, yeah. Well,
Come here, I need the sukkah.
that's right. We got to do that.
The weather.
Just having people.
Yeah.
So are we gonna, do you want to just meet at the movie, or should
Maybe we should do that. You know, get some
just meet at the movie? Good job, because we've spent so much time together.
Yeah.
Great, we'll get some. All right, I'm out of here.
We all want them.
My old stamping rats.
She's nice, very lovely. So she's just gonna do three
Certainly do that.
I love when you go with them. I mean,
When I pray, you pray.
yeah, I do.
You know, this year in Yom Kippur, I felt like I was praying the GCC.
Terrible, isn't it?
But there's nothing else we can do.
What can we do? I'll tell you what we can do.
Yeah, what?
We can run Hochstein.
Yes.
Yeah, but how much more is it than the
Less.
GCC? Is it less?
GCC charges us 8,200 or more.
What?
Yes. Yes. Maybe
When you do it.
Yeah, Hochstein, I'll look up on the internet.
What do they
I
charge?
could stay home.
I'm planting seeds. I don't know. But it's only.
Can I water it?
Yes, it can only work if we combine both services together.
Yes.
But that's what has to be done anyway, because this year,
Less.
it was less people, so many less
Houston, how
people.
beautiful, right? It will be so magnificent, majestic.
Oh, your voice.
I mean, not only my voice, but musicians, I feel better. They practice so hard, and then they sound like, I don't want to say.
They still sound
The
beautiful.
first year I went, I had to close my eyes, you know.
And make believe I'm
And
not
make
there.
believe I was
Yeah,
in bed.
that's what I do.
All musicians complain, Vera complains, Marina complains.
My
Michelle
eyes are
complains.
always closed. I think I'm sleeping.
Yeah,
I'm sleeping.
I do the
That's
same.
when I
Try
hear
to
the
focus.
music.
Yeah.
That's when I hear it. And I close it here.
So they have 3 rooms in Hoxton. Everything on the website, pricing, everything. I calculated everything. But I can't do anything by myself. You know, it's a team effort, you know. It's okay to dream, right?
It's a very good dream. I like it. The JCC may not like it, but I like it.
Well, they have a huge, like,
And we wouldn't have to schlep chairs. The schleppers,
Exactly.
and the schleppers are getting older. They can't schlep anymore.
just the arc and the podium.
Yeah, that's it.
So they have a big auditorium. I mean, this
Yeah.
hall, which is fits 850 people.
What do they charge?
Well, the whole thing. They have this big room, 850. Then they have another room. Hi. Can I talk to you a little bit later? I have to finish. Okay? Just wait a second. Then they have another room where they fit 100 people, which is for family service.
Yeah.
I mean, not family, Ilan, you know, this
Yeah.
group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another room, 50 capacity for youth service.
Yeah.
The whole thing is 6,500.
To save $2,000.
But then they have to figure out the parking. You might have to pay parking. Parking's close to $1 for 5 hours.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
Right, so we can just buy the parking lot.
Of course.
Yeah, we pay and do the valet.
Yes.
I figured everything out. It's okay, we don't get any money. I don't know. The revolution. But, you know.
I wish you had the common thing in the city here.
She was one of the ladies.
I know, she's the Miami Lorry course, when she was on cervical cancer, she was pregnant and had a baby. No, but now we get to keep my pregnancy. It's funny. I could stop by getting I went to Miami when she was on yeah, and it was important. And she was still a student, and they gave her all the school. That's why she was a
We were talking about
I'm not here, but my role is here, so I had to spread my soul. But my aunt used to say, every time she says something, I would go, nothing's a month. So on her gravestone, I would feel nothing's a month. No, just this way, so go to a good where what you learn, you can learn by deep breathing. And the thoughts that you're having, there's two ways they do it. So during hypnosis, it's taking repetitive to strengthen your thing, and then really good. So when you find out, the person, it was a man. It wasn't Robert.
It's okay. Anyway, have fun tonight. Go have fun. Go to bed. Dan? Dan?
Oh, no, we had this conversation.
You guys are gonna be like buddies in the last section. I said, no, we gotta get out of the house. I'm out of the house all the time. No, but not with Craig mode, because that's great.
You know something, I really think that'd be the best thing for you. And go in with that attitude, and mostly, can you make yourself relax?
Oh, yeah.
So don't worry about the personality, worry about what you're doing. Okay?
Michael brought me, brought my head to sleep. Out after that.
If you can get into that might help her. Use Reiki to stop Reiki. If you do those two things, that may help. Well, tell your cells to start changing.
I go in the room. Good morning, Mom. You see me dancing.
Well, hey, I can't think of a better situation. We're not worried about that. That's their problem.
All right, I was about to tell them this I could grab me. Yeah, one of my that last appointment, oh, yeah. Across the bridges, between Bob and I, it's like fine. We've known each other since we were huge. I mean, I've been there once. And then I said, Bob, I dreamed this dream.
Wow.
I said, no, I really dreamed this one.
Now that's really good.
Now that's good. I dreamed. That's
I remember you
and then when you open America.
I thought you just said I was a dream.
And my name is Marilyn. And your eyes are.
Right.
All right. That's so funny. Mary, Mary Paris.
Oh, Mary.
His mother's name is Mary with a Y. She could never get to distinguish Mary like Merry Christmas.
Right.
I think she married Poppins. I
Okay.
was married with a guy. She was married.
Wow.
Mary Poppins. Because I really don't want to
The two statements.
wait till you see the guy here emphasizing it. No, but it's so true.
A lot of people do that.
Yes.
A lot of people go to sex marriage.
Shabbat shalom to everybody.
When a couple, got out, and the husband died, and then the wife remarried, and then years go by, and you feel torn between being one place or another, they'll finish the stone next to the hut when she's not there, and then do another stone, so they want. Well, it's weird.
I deny. No, I want to be with you, Ma.
I'm not gonna drive 250 miles. What roads
Yeah. I'm gonna be my idea over you.
I wouldn't make it.
I went away with this the other day. Yeah. He's looking over, single in his face. Who? He's singing. And I